Some stories aren't meant to be told. But the people who lived them, needed to let them out. What you're about to hear isn't fiction. It's the kind of truth most of us try to ignore. Because if it happened to them, it could happen to you. These are 3 terrifying, true encounters with the unknown. Each story begins like any other day. Until something, or someone, shifts the ground beneath them. Take a breath. And don't look out your window. Story 1. She knew my room number. This happened a few years ago, when I was a sophomore in college. My name's Evan, and back then, I didn't get placed in on-campus housing after freshman year. It was a mess, and I had to scramble last minute to find a place, ended up in a student co-op about 20 minutes from campus. Not ideal, but cheap. And I had a bike. It was one of those communal setups, 3 houses on one property, each with about a dozen residents. Most people were other students, but not all. A few grad students, a couple of alumni, and one woman who didn't fit in at all. Her name, or the only one I ever heard, was Miriam. She looked to be in her late 50s, maybe early 60s. Graying hair, walked with a slight limp, and always had this blank, vacant stare. No one really talked about her, and she didn't talk to anyone either. She lived in one of the other houses, but for some reason, I kept seeing her in ours. The first time was in the shared kitchen. She wasn't eating or cooking, just standing there, watching everyone. Like, studying us. Her eyes didn't move. They just stayed locked on the room. I swear, more than once, she was looking at me. No one seemed bothered. No one even acknowledged her. Later that week, I was at my desk, writing something for class, when I looked up, and saw her again. Through my window. She was standing in the middle of the street, just staring up at the house. Cold night, no jacket, no shoes. At first I thought she might be confused. But the way she was positioned, it felt targeted. I waved without thinking. A friendly gesture. Her response. She jumped twice in place, then bolted toward one of the other houses. Like she was excited. Like she had been waiting for a signal. I felt sick. That night, I asked my roommate about her. He just said, "Oh, Miriam. Don't worry. She's always around. Just ignore her. We all do." That wasn't comforting. I kept seeing her, in the hall, at the laundry machines, once even in the stairwell at 3 a.m. She never spoke. Just appeared and disappeared. Quiet. Blank. Then one night, I woke up to a sound in my room. More specifically, in my closet. A soft bumping noise. Rhythmic. Every few seconds. I sat up, heart pounding, and just listened. My door was still locked. The bumping kept going. I got up slowly and crept toward the closet, telling myself it was nothing. Maybe a coat shifting, or something fell off a shelf. I opened the door fast, trying to get the jump on whatever it was. And there she was. Miriam. In my closet. She was crouched, almost folded in half. One of my ties was around her neck, like a scarf. In her hand, a kitchen knife. Her eyes locked onto mine, and without a word, she lunged. I screamed and grabbed her wrist, managing to twist the knife from her hand. She was stronger than she looked, wiry and frantic. She bit my arm at one point. Drew blood. I was shouting for help the whole time. By the time my housemates burst into the room, I had her pinned. She didn't speak. Not even when the police showed up and cuffed her. She just stared. They found my lost room key in her coat pocket. Turns out, she wasn't a student, or faculty, or staff. She was the sister of the property manager. He had let her live in one of the unused rooms off record because she had nowhere else to go. She had a long, documented history of severe mental illness, including past incidents of stalking and trespassing. He'd ignored all of it. No one had run a check. No one had even asked questions. He got arrested for negligence and a bunch of other charges. And Miriam, she was institutionalized. Last I heard, she wasn't fit for trial. But here's the part that still keeps me up sometimes. The police went through her room. She didn't have much. Just a mattress, a few bags of clothes, and a notebook. In it, she'd drawn floor plans of all 3 houses. Room by room. Name by name. And next to mine, written in all caps, in red ink. He waved back. Story 2. The Girl Who Knew the Code. My name's Richard. I'm retired, pushing 60, and I've lived in the same neighborhood with my wife Maggie for over 2 decades now. Quiet street, decent neighbors, a few too many kids maybe, but no complaints. That's the kind of peace you get used to. So when the house across the street finally sold after sitting empty for a year, we were curious. The buyer? A young man named Ryan. Mid-20s, stylish, always had some expensive gadget in his hand. Said he worked online, freelance something or other. He had one of those grins that made you think he'd never struggled a day in his life. But he was polite, called me, sir, without sounding sarcastic, and even brought Maggie a bottle of wine when he moved in. I liked the kid. But something started to feel off. I spend a lot of time on the porch. Knitting, birdwatching, podcasts, you name it. And over a few weeks, I noticed a girl visiting Ryan's place. Always the same one, blonde, always in that same little white convertible. At first, I figured she was his girlfriend. She had her own key. Came and went whether Ryan was home or not. But the routine got strange. She started showing up only when Ryan was gone. Every few days. Sometimes for hours. Then she'd just drive off. Maggie said maybe she was house-sitting. But it didn't feel like that. Then, one afternoon, I heard shouting. Looked out, Ryan and the girl were arguing in the driveway. Loud. Aggressive. He looked confused, she looked furious. Then she slapped him. Next day, she was back again. Alone. A week later, the cops showed up. Sirens blaring. Maggie and I ran outside like half the block. We watched them carry Ryan out on a stretcher. Blood everywhere. The girl, handcuffed, silent, just staring at the pavement like she didn't see it. It was hard to look at. When Ryan came home, days later, we visited. Just to check in. He let us in without much small talk. He told us everything. Her name was Elise. And she had never been his girlfriend. They met once. At a bar. She flirted with him, he gave her a fake number to be polite. That was it. But she found him. Used social media, maybe mutual friends, he wasn't sure. But she figured out where he lived. And then she got in. One day, his spare key was gone. He thought he misplaced it. But she'd taken it. Made a copy. She started showing up when he wasn't home. Snooping. Taking photos. going through his stuff. At one point, she planted 3 hidden cameras in his bedroom and living room, battery-powered, easy to miss. She watched his every move for weeks. The fight in the driveway. That was when he finally confronted her. The attack. The night after he told her to leave him alone. She broke in, waited in his bedroom with a knife. He only survived because he happened to come home early and noticed the door was unlocked. She lunged at him the second he walked in. He fought her off. Somehow. Barely. When the police took her phone, they found something else. Dozens of videos of other people. Men, mostly. Unaware. Sleeping. Eating. Walking to their cars. She'd been doing this for a while. But Ryan? He was the first one who saw her. The first one who noticed something was wrong. The first one who waved. He moved out a few weeks later. No forwarding address. We never saw him again. And that convertible? It still drives through the neighborhood sometimes. But it's not Elise behind the wheel anymore. It's someone else. Someone new. Story 3. The party I wasn't invited to. This happened last spring. I had just moved into a quiet neighborhood after a rough breakup and a few life mistakes I won't get into here. I needed a reset, new city, new job, new everything. The house was perfect. A bit too big for me, but I liked the space. Trees, long driveway, wide gaps between properties. Most of the neighbors were families, happy, successful, loud in a way that reminded me how alone I was. But I didn't mind. Not at first. The house next door was massive. Way bigger than mine. Like, 5-bedroom suburban castle vibes. When I first saw it, I figured it must house a huge family. But I was wrong. Only one person lived there. His name was Cole. Looked about my age, late 20s, maybe early 30s. Skinny, kind of sharp around the edges, with a weirdly perfect smile. I introduced myself one afternoon, and we hit it off. He was polite, even charming, in that effortless way some people are. Said he worked in finance. Didn't explain what that meant. Said he lived alone. I laughed and said something about how crazy that was in a house that size. He laughed back, but there was this flicker in his eyes, like he didn't think it was funny. He told me to stop by for a drink sometime. I suggested we do it then and there, jokingly. His smile faded a little. He said he was busy. Never said with what. From that day on, I'd wave when I saw him. Sometimes he'd wave back. Sometimes not. Then one night, I woke up around 2 a.m. because of loud music. It was coming from Cole's house. I sleep with the windows cracked, so it was hard to miss. Voices, laughter, bass. Sounded like a full-on party. I threw on a hoodie and walked over. 7 or 8 cars lined the driveway. The porch light was on. I knocked. No answer. I tried again. Nothing. The music kept playing, but the closer I got, the more I noticed something strange. It wasn't quite music. It was a recording. A looping audio of people talking, laughing, glasses clinking. Like someone had downloaded the sound of a party and hit play. I reached for the door, and it opened. The house was empty. Completely empty. No people. No food. No drinks. No lights on inside. Just rows of shoes in the entryway, 10, maybe 15 pairs. But no feet inside them. I should have left. But I didn't. I started walking. Through the kitchen. The hall. Down the stairs. In the basement, I found a door slightly open. Behind it, a low industrial hum, like machinery. The smell of bleach punched me in the face. I looked through the crack. There were men inside. 3 of them. Wearing thick gloves, goggles, boots. They looked like factory workers. One of them was operating some kind of grinding tool. Another was washing something under a flickering fluorescent light. They weren't talking. They were focused. I didn't see what they were working on, the angle didn't let me. But I saw something that chilled me more than anything else. All the shoes in the entryway. They were next to them. In buckets. Pairs of shoes. All different styles. All neatly labeled. Names written in black marker on masking tape. And one of them said, Cole. That's when I backed away. I don't remember how I got home. I just remember locking every door and window and sitting in the dark until morning. When I looked out my window the next day, all the cars were gone. Including Cole's. It's been 5 months. The house is still empty. Mail piling up. Lawn overgrown. No realtors. No signs. No city notices. No one seems to care. But sometimes, at night, I swear I hear it. That same recording. Faint. Like it's leaking through the walls. A party I was never invited to. And this time, I don't want to go.
This story has come to an end. Ever had something like this happen to you? Tell me in the comments. Subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss the next true horror story.